At this point, Kevin Stefanski's refusal to play Shadur Sanders is starting to feel less like a coaching decision and more like a personal vendetta. Week after week, the Browns keep marching out aging veteran Joe Flacco, while a potential franchise quarterback, one of the most productive passers in college football last season, sits untouched on the bench. And this week, that decision cost them, big time. A humiliating 34-10 beatdown by the Detroit Lions wasn't just a scoreboard loss.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
It was a full-blown organizational meltdown, televised in high definition. Let's not sugarcoat it. Joe Flacco was awful. Again, 2 interceptions, minimal pocket mobility, 0 explosiveness, and whatever leadership he's supposed to bring clearly didn't translate to the field. This offense is stalled out, and fans are left wondering what Stefanski is even looking at. Because Sanders isn't some unknown backup. He's a guy who completed 74% of his passes in college, threw 37 touchdowns, and had NFL scouts buzzing after preseason. The talent is obvious. The upside is massive. So what's the holdup? Stefanski keeps preaching stability and veteran presence. But this isn't stability, it's stagnation. And in the modern NFL, where young quarterbacks are thriving left and right, the Browns are running in place, watching yet another season slip away while their future QB gathers dust on the sideline. And here's the part that's truly maddening. Everyone sees it. The media is dragging Stefanski for the decision. Analysts are pointing to Sanders' metrics and wondering how he isn't starting. Fans are melting down online, demanding change. Even whispers inside the organization suggest ownership is reaching its breaking point, because this isn't just a bad call, it's organizational malpractice. This game was the tipping point. The Browns' defense did their job. They kept the team in the game early, made stops, showed flashes of elite play. But when the offense can't convert, can't score, can't even generate momentum, it all falls apart. And for what? So Flacco can manage the game? He's not managing anything. He's just delaying the inevitable. The Browns aren't just losing games. They're losing credibility. They're wasting a golden opportunity to build around a young, talented quarterback who has every tool needed to succeed, and a locker room that's quietly losing patience with the status quo. Kevin Stefanski is playing not to lose, but in doing so, he's losing everything that matters: momentum, trust, and maybe even his grip on the team. If Shadur Sanders doesn't start getting reps soon, the Browns aren't just risking this season. They're setting fire to their future. You watched it happen. A 34-10 beatdown that felt like something far worse than just a bad game. The Cleveland Browns didn't just lose to the Detroit Lions. They evaporated on national television. And the worst part? It was all preventable. The kind of train wreck that doesn't sneak up on anyone, but still crashes in slow motion, while everyone in the building just stares. The stadium was packed. The fans were hopeful. The defense was fired up. And then Joe Flacco took the field. Yep, that Joe Flacco. The one whose best years are now highlights in sepia tone. The one whose arm strength and decision-making looked like they'd been left in 2014. And once again, head coach Kevin Stefanski doubled down on a decision that's now gone from questionable to full-blown PR disaster. Because let's be real, Shadur Sanders is right there. This was supposed to be the start of a new era. You got a dynamic young quarterback sitting on the bench, a guy who lit up the college scene, posted a 74.1% completion rate, 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, and he crushed it in the preseason. Calm in the pocket, smart reads, leadership beyond his years. But instead of letting that momentum build, the Browns made the inexplicable decision to hand the offense to a guy whose stat line reads like a retirement announcement. 61.1% completion, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and absolutely 0 energy. And you could feel the tension boiling over. Fans in the stadium weren't just booing. They were done. Social media was on fire by halftime. Analysts, former players, even insiders from within the organization started talking. Not just about the loss, but about how this entire mess is emblematic of something deeper. Because this wasn't just a bad coaching call. It was the latest chapter in the Browns' long, painful history of quarterback mismanagement. And this time, the consequences could be catastrophic. Kevin Stefanski is catching all the heat, and frankly, it's overdue. His conservative, rigid approach to player development is looking more outdated by the minute. In an NFL that rewards bold moves, creativity, and trusting your young talent, Stefanski seems stuck in a playbook that belongs in the early 2000s. The refusal to play Sanders isn't just about waiting until he's ready. It's about a fundamental disconnect between what this team needs and what the coaching staff is willing to do. And it's not just Stefanski. Reports are leaking. Ownership is reportedly furious. Front office tension is bubbling to the surface. Some players are starting to question the process. You got a defense that's giving everything they have, only to watch their effort erased by 3-and-outs and momentum-killing interceptions. It's hard not to feel like the locker room is reaching a breaking point, because this isn't about nostalgia for Flacco or being safe. It's about wasting time, valuable development time, game speed reps that could be shaping your future franchise quarterback. Instead, you're forcing everyone to live through a mediocre rerun, pretending it's part of some bigger plan. Meanwhile, Shadur Sanders is just waiting. And make no mistake, people are noticing. His college resume alone speaks louder than any excuse Stefanski could offer. The kid has poise, precision, and that intangible factor that turned good quarterbacks into great ones. And yet, week after week, he's stuck on the sideline while the offense flounders. You don't need a deep dive film analysis to understand what's going on. It's right there in the numbers. Sanders is a statistical standout in college and preseason. Flacco, barely serviceable. And still, Stefanski rides with a veteran like he's trying to roll the clock backwards. What exactly is the plan here? To hope the team magically finds rhythm with a QB who can't stretch the field? To keep burning weeks of Sanders' development just to preserve the illusion of stability? Because if the goal was to keep things under control, newsflash, a 34-10 meltdown is not control. That's chaos in cleats. And here's where it gets even uglier. This isn't the first time Cleveland has dropped the ball with a promising quarterback. The ghosts of failed QB experiments past are all still hovering. Names like Manziel, Kaiser, Mayfield, each one a cautionary tale of franchise that just couldn't figure out how to nurture talent without crushing it under the weight of dysfunction. Now they've got another shot, a legit prospect with a high ceiling, and they're risking it again. The difference this time? The entire NFL world is watching. Media figures have already started dragging Stefanski for his stubbornness. Former NFL players are calling it malpractice. And fans? They're organizing full-blown revolts in the comment sections of every Browns post. You don't survive this kind of pressure unless you pivot. Fast. But Stefanski seems more committed to the ride-it-out mindset than ever, which is only deepening the hole. And with ownership reportedly seething, you have to wonder how much longer this version of the Browns survives before something breaks. Coaching staff, locker room chemistry, or public patience. Because every week Sanders doesn't play as a week of wasted development. This is a quarterback who wants to be on the field, who's shown flashes of elite decision-making. And instead, he's learning the game from behind a clipboard, while Flacco lobs prayers into double coverage. It's not just inefficient. It's insulting. It's also painfully outdated. The NFL has evolved. Quarterbacks come in younger, faster, more prepared than ever. Teams like the Texans and the Colts are showing that rookie QBs can shine when given the right support. The days of sitting behind a vet for 3 seasons are gone. But Cleveland is still playing by rules nobody else respects. The philosophical route goes beyond just this season. It's about leadership that clings to safety nets instead of vision. It's about a franchise that has never known how to commit to a plan and stick to it. And now, with a young star quarterback on the roster, they're actively choosing regression. You can't spin this. You can't PR your way out of it. And make no mistake, the ripple effects are massive. Fan trust? Shaky at best. Locker room unity? Unstable. Organizational reputation? Being laughed at by teams that were once in the exact same spot, but actually decided to change. The longer the Browns stick with this strategy, the clearer the message becomes. They haven't learned a thing. If you're a fan, you're exhausted. Not just from the loss, but from the deja vu. Every quarterback controversy, every missed opportunity, every time leadership chooses comfort over courage, all adds up. And now they're sitting on a potential game changer in Sanders and refusing to even try. At this point, you have to ask, what exactly are they waiting for? There's no upside left in protecting Flacco. There's no mystery in what you're getting from him. But there is mystery, possibility, and hope in giving Sanders real reps. And right now, hope is the only thing the Browns haven't completely burned through. So congratulations to Kevin Stefanski, this week's winner of the Let's Tank a Franchise's Future with Vibes Alone award, for managing to turn a promising roster into a cautionary tale, and for doubling down on a decision so bad it might single-handedly cost him his job. The Browns have officially reached a part of the story where even doing nothing is a choice with consequences. And right now, every moment Shadur Sanders stays on the bench is a moment wasted. Talent this rare doesn't sit forever. It moves on. And when it does, it remembers who believed and who didn't. If you're screaming into the void with us, drop a comment and let it out. Should Stefanski be benched before Sanders? Should the Browns finally break the cycle and give the kid a shot? Let us know what you would do if you were calling plays. And if you want more weekly breakdowns of NFL drama, quarterback chaos, and coaching collapses, hit that subscribe button. Because clearly, the Browns aren't the only ones spiraling. This isn't just a bad decision. This is a kind of slow-burning catastrophe that fractures an entire organization. Because once you lose the locker room, the fan base, and the confidence of ownership, there's no fourth down miracle coming to save you. And right now, it's all unraveling for Kevin Stefanski. Week after week, he steps to the podium with the same blank-faced post-game platitudes. We need to execute better. We'll evaluate everything. It's a long season. But you know what it sounds like to fans? A coach who's lost the plot. A coach too deep in denial to see that he's on a sinking ship, patching the holes with cardboard and crossing his fingers. It's not just a Lions game. That was the boiling point, the headline failure. But the cracks have been forming for weeks. You could feel it building with every conservative play call, every drive where Flacco stumbled through checkdowns and panicked throws, every opportunity where Shadur Sanders could have been gaining real-time NFL experience. And instead, clipboard, baseball cap, silence. Even casual fans can see it. The game is faster, the windows are tighter, and a modern quarterback needs more than just raw talent. He needs live reps. So when your most promising young player is sidelined in favor of a quarterback whose best asset knows the playbook, you're not playing smart. You're playing scared. Let's talk about that fear. Because that's what this is really about, right? Fear of the unknown. Fear of mistakes. Fear that Shadur might go out there, struggle a little, and make the coaching staff look bad. Newsflash, that's how development works. Even the best young quarterbacks take a few hits before they hit their stride. You don't protect them by hiding them. You protect them by believing in them. But that belief is nowhere to be found in Cleveland right now. Instead, what we're seeing is pure risk aversion, an organization stuck in survival mode, terrified to take a bold step, because it might not pay off immediately. And the irony? That fear is costing them everything. The games, the trust, the momentum, and worst of all, the future. Now, let's rewind for a second. Shadur Sanders didn't just show up and get hyped because of his last name. The kid earned that attention. At Colorado, he was surgical. That's 74.1% completion rate. That doesn't happen by accident. That's vision, precision, and preparation. His poise under pressure was next level. And in the preseason, he translated it. The game didn't look too fast. The reads weren't too complex. He was ready. And Stefanski saw all of that and still bench him. Meanwhile, the defense, arguably one of the top 5 units in the league, is putting their bodies on the line every week. And for what? To watch Joe Flacco throw fluttering ducks into double coverage like it's a game of backyard roulette? You can't blame the defense if their morale starts slipping. Because no matter how elite you are, you can't win games when your offense is a net negative. And the media? They've moved past asking why and straight into how bad is it going to get? National analysts are torching Stefanski on every platform. Some are calling for his resignation. Others are speculating about a mid-season shakeup. And let's not forget the fans. Cleveland has some of the most passionate, loyal fans in football, and they are done playing nice. They're not buying the veteran experience argument. Not when that experience equals blown reads, stall drives, and a team going nowhere fast. They want answers. They want accountability. And more than anything, they want to see a future worth investing in. Right now, Shadur Sanders is that future, and the Browns are leaving him in the dark. It's not just frustrating, it's negligent. This team has spent decades searching for a quarterback. They've drafted busts, overpaid for journeymen, swung and missed so many times. It's become a meme. And now, they might finally have the guy, and they're treating him like a backup long snapper. It's organizational malpractice. And the worst part? Everyone sees it, except the people in charge. Stefanski continues to defend Flacco like we're all hallucinating. Like we didn't just watch him throw his 4th interception in 2 games. Like we don't have eyes and working brains. That disconnect is dangerous. Because once your leadership loses credibility, it's over. The players tune you out. The fans abandon hope. And the spiral begins. We're already seeing signs of that spiral. Reports of internal frustration are leaking, not just from players, but from inside the front office. Anonymous sources hinting at tension between ownership and the coaching staff. Executives questioning the long-term strategy. And you better believe if ownership is furious now, a few more blowouts will turn that fury into action. Because the pressure isn't going to let up. The media scrutiny is only intensifying. Every week Sanders doesn't play. The questions get louder. Every loss magnifies the mistakes. And every mistake makes the Browns look like they're running a franchise with the emotional maturity of a magic 8-ball. It's not just about wins and losses anymore. It's about identity. Are the Browns going to be the team that finally breaks the curse? That leans into the future, develops their young core, and builds something real? Or are they going to cling to the past, keep playing scared, and become the NFL's eternal cautionary tale? Because right now, they're writing the second story in bold, underlined ink. And let's be real, this kind of opportunity doesn't come around often. A young quarterback with star potential, leadership skills, and the numbers to back it up, that's gold. That's what every struggling team in the league is praying for. And the Browns are just letting it rot on the sideline. If you're Shadur Sanders, how long do you keep waiting? Sure, he's saying all the right things, playing the good soldier. But how long before that patience wears thin? How long before his camp starts asking why he's not getting the shot he earned? How long before another team starts circling, ready to take a chance Cleveland was too scared to take? This isn't just about a bad week. This is a franchise-defining moment. The kind of moment that either jumpstarts a rebuild or burns it all down. And unless something changes fast, we're talking major shakeup, full reset, Stefanski out. The Browns are headed straight into the flames. Because the longer they double down on this failed strategy, the harder it becomes to fix it. The damage to player morale, the erosion of trust, the loss of fan loyalty. That stuff doesn't come back overnight. Right now, Cleveland has a choice, courage or collapse. They can keep gaslighting the fan base, pretending Flacco is the answer, and ride this train straight into the ground. Or they can finally do what needs to be done. Bench Flacco, start Shadur, and begin building the future. Not next year, not next week, now. Because if you're going to lose games, lose them developing talent. Lose them learning. Lose them with a plan. Don't lose them clinging to ghosts. At this point, starting Shadur Sanders isn't just a smart play. It's the only play. So here we are, another Browns meltdown. Another chapter in a saga that somehow keeps getting messier. But maybe, just maybe, this is the moment where something breaks for the better. Maybe this disaster finally forces a decision that sets the franchise back on track. Or maybe they'll keep doing what they've always done, ignoring the obvious, silencing the critics, and letting opportunity rot right in front of them. Because that's the real heartbreak here. They have what they need. They just refuse to use it. Let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't just about one bad quarterback decision. This is about a team stuck in a loop of its own making. A loop so familiar, So painfully predictable that Browns fans have probably scripted the next 5 weeks themselves. Start the veteran lose big, give a vague press conference, ignore the future, repeat. And the kicker? They always act surprised. It's like watching someone walk into the same glass door over and over, swearing each time it's going to swing open. Kevin Stefanski, for all his talk about game management and trusting the process, is coaching like a man who's afraid of his own roster, afraid of handing the keys to a young star who might gasp, make a few rookie mistakes on the way to greatness. But here's the thing. Everyone else in the NFL is doing it. Teams are letting their rookies learn by playing. It's not radical. It's the new normal, except in Cleveland. In Cleveland, you reward a strong preseason with a seat. You stack wins in college with silence. You get drafted with fanfare and hope and high expectations, and then you're told, "Not yet, kid. We got Joe Flacco." Seriously? This is the same Joe Flacco whose highlight reels are in standard definition. The same Flacco who's turned the word veteran into a euphemism for statue with a decent spiral. And yes, he's at moments past tense. But when your offense is imploding, when your team is getting booed off the field, when your locker room is as close to fracturing, you need more than moments. You need momentum. You need the spark that only comes from doing something bold. Starting Shadur Sanders would be bold. It would be exciting. It would be correct. But no. Instead, the Browns keep dragging us through the slow, soul-sapping descent into irrelevance, again. And what's even more maddening, they know what they're doing isn't working. You can see it in the press conferences, the body language, the leaked reports. The fear is setting in. But instead of adapting, they're digging in deeper, like pride alone is going to win them games. Spoiler alert, pride doesn't move the chains. You want to know what does? Vision, adaptability, courage. And right now, Stefanski is striking out on all three. The clock is ticking, not just on the season, but on this entire regime. If something doesn't change, and fast, this will go down as yet another squandered opportunity. Another quarterback wasted. Another year of fans asking, why are we like this? So here's your final drive, Cleveland. Do something. Start Shadur. Shock us. Prove everyone wrong. Because if you don't, you're not just losing games. You're losing everything. And once again, the only people surprised will be you.